So, okay, given that, the recording has started now, and we can now start with the session. So, I will just quickly go over the class logistics again. Uh, Google Classroom will be used as a class repository, and the class code is ORQLHGM. I noticed that quite a few of you are there on it, but not all of you. So I understand this is ad drop period, and quite a few of you who are in the class today might already be, considering whether you want to continue with the class or drop the class. But if you wish to continue the class, please join the Google Classroom kind of immediately. First lectures recording and first lectures notes are already there. The slides are already there, and you can review those. In addition to that, we also have all the announcements linked to Google Meet, codes for the office hours, everything in the Google Classroom. So please join the Google Classroom. And if you have also not registered on ERP, then you know that the ad drop last date is tomorrow. So you have to do that also soon enough if you want to continue or to discontinue from this course. Okay. The class timings, as we already know, are 10:30 to 12 on Tuesdays and Fridays. A substitute class, we already agreed last time, would be Wednesdays, 4 to 5:30 p.m. That is in case if we miss either a Tuesday or a Friday class due to some reason. My office hours, we agreed would be 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. This is the meeting code for my office hours. I will also put it on Google Classroom. That it's not, so my meeting code is not on Google Classroom yet, but I will put it there also. And the office hours for Prakhar, Mukesh, and Diksha are also listed. This we had agreed in the last class. So any concerns or questions regarding these class logistics? So please let me know now.
So maybe your office hours might clash with one of the subjects I'm choosing.
Yeah, so we had agreed that my office hours are not like they're starting at 10 and are closing at 11. So even if you have a class starting at 10:30, you can attend the office hours from 10 to 10:30. Half an hour should be good enough, I believe. Office hours में कुछ सवाल जवाब ही होते हैं. And if your class is stuck from 9 to 10:30, then you should be able to join at 10:30 and will be. So that was the idea of keeping it in such a manner that anyone of you can attend the office hours, even if it partially clashes. So office hours does not mean that you have to be there for the entire 1 hour duration. You come with a doubt, you ask your doubt, and you go. Do you think that would work for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else has any concerns about these class logistics? Okay. So it means we can move forward and we can consider these class logistics as final. So we already discussed last time that we will initially, like we are already meeting on Google Meet, but we will switch over to Zoom. Google Classroom, I will quickly announce on Google Classroom the Google Meet meeting code, and we would then switch over to Google Meet immediately. Okay, so that we don't miss a class. Otherwise, we'll have to then think of that substitute class and so on. So I don't want the logistics to bother us. So while Zoom may be our mainstay, Google Meet will be the backup. Okay, and regarding Zoom, how many of you have faced a problem with Zoom? Because I was checking with students and they said that almost no one of them faced it. Setu mentioned that he had faced a problem, but that was primarily because of the Linux platform. So, Naman, you faced a problem with Zoom. What was the problem that you faced?
एक्चुअली सर कल ओपीडी की क्लास में
या कल पूरा Zoom कोलैप्स हो गया था, क्रैश हो गया था. तो कल की बात नहीं कर रहे.
बाकी मैंने जो जो हम लोग का इंडक्शन हुआ था सर वो भी जूम पे ही हुआ था.
हाँ.
और उसमें भी वॉइस ब्रेकिंग का बहुत इशू था सर. लाइक गूगल मीट इज फाइन बट जूम पे प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं सर.
So you mean that
It
network?
might be like sometime it will be also fine, but major possibilities like voice breaking का issue हो सकता है.
So according to you guys, Zoom requires higher bandwidth. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So if there are any bandwidth constraints with someone, they will face problems with Zoom. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Sahil.
Sir, but Zoom consume less amount of data, sir, and whereas Google Meet consumes lot of data, sir.
That is what I also understood, because Zoom, according to me, is much more data efficient, and it could be so it is it okay. So one hypothesis could be that Zoom already does undersampling or samples at the most appropriate rate. So if there is a network issue, then you would feel a voice drop, a call, some parts of the conversation dropping off. Google Meet might be oversampling, and because of that, you might not be experiencing it like that. But Zoom.
So am I audible?
Yes, Rohit, you are.
So I am also attending the Zoom from the Linux only, and the only problem that was there, like we attended our EEE and our TCOM classes on Zoom, and it has around 500 people each. So the only problem I faced was that the messages that come, the class comments that come, it does not give a notification in Linux. So you have to open the minimize chat window, like in the meeting window itself. So that's the only problem that I faced. Other than that, there was no issues, and the lag was less on Zoom as compared to Meet, in my case.
Yeah, because Zoom would use less data actually. So जैसा साहिल ने अभी बताया that Zoom would use less data. So अगर आपका connection बहुत खराब नहीं है, तो you would find it better than Google Meet.
Excuse me, sir.
Zoom पे lag कम था. Meet.
Yes, Sahil.
Does Zoom allow us to record the lecture, sir?
Yes, Zoom allows recording. So we will record the lecture, and the recordings will be shared with you anyways. That will not change. Okay, so as of now, we continue with the intent to move to Zoom, and we will see. We will see if there are continuing challenges. We will review. Okay, but abhi jo plan hai that after the ad drop period ends, we will probably switch over to Zoom, and I will share the Zoom meeting ID and password on the Google Classroom. So again, I request all of you to join the Google Classroom. The class code is already given here, and because announcements are already happening, lectures are already being posted there, so it is best that you join there already. Okay. So now we then come to today's class. Should we move on, or are there any questions?
You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. So we will look at, as I already mentioned in the previous class, we will look at the design flow abstractions for VLSI design and multiple levels of detail. And we will first start from, a product conception to product being delivered to the customer. And then we will zoom into a level where we first arrive at what are we going to do in the DVD course. And then we will go into further detail, zoom in still further and see how is DVD course in itself enabled. That is, what other work goes behind the scenes, so that whatever we do in this course is enabled somehow. Okay. So in this process, what we'll also look at is the kind of, because I understand this is a major concern or interest for all of you, that the kind of jobs or the kind of work that you can get if you're working in a particular field. So the first, when suppose we're talking about Qualcomm, and Qualcomm says, I want to come up with the next application processor. So the first thing that goes into it is doing a requirement analysis, in the sense that what all do we need? So they say that, okay, today we already have quad core processors, but the battery life is more. So I need to go back and reduce the battery life somehow. So can I look at a quad core? So आज का जो quad core processor है उसके अंदर 4 A53s लगे हुए हैं या 4 ARM A57s लगे हुए हैं. So in the next version of the product, can I go to say ARM 73 or ARM 75, and along with those 4 ARM 73 or 75s, let me couple 4 very small cores, so that I can have a big little combination. And when there is not too much load, when someone is not really playing video games or streaming video, at that time I will play only on the small cores, and otherwise I will use the large cores. So most of the time I will be more battery efficient, more energy efficient, and therefore my battery life of the chip would increase. So this kind of discussion with the customer, what is it that you need, is called as requirement analysis. This is largely done by technical marketing and customer strategy kind of people. They are technical people, but they have connects with the customers. They have an MBA degree also with them, so that they can understand the needs of the customer, translate them into technical specifications, and so on. So once you have the requirement analysis where it says that battery life needs to be reduced and I need to have a still more powerful processor, so you know that there are conflicting demands, you come up with the functional and test specs where you say that, okay, I will use ARM 73 and I will use ARM 53. I will couple these two processors, so that becomes the functional specs. In addition to this, right here, we also say, how will I test my chip? Because I wanted to achieve lower battery power consumption or lower power consumption, but I wanted all the required functionality. So what will be my test benchmarks? What will be my test specifications? What will be the voltage range between which this chip should work? For example, I also agree that I would go to say 15 or 14 FinFET. Okay, so in 14 FinFET, what is the voltage at which I am expected to design? What is the voltage at which functionality has to be verified, and so on? So that is the next step where we look at what are the test specifications, where all will I test my design. And then comes the part of partitioning and planning. So what is partitioning and planning? Partitioning and planning is that, okay, there is this bigger chip. It has ARM cores. It has a clock generator. It has a GPU that is there. It has these many other ADCs, PLLs, and other macros also there. So when all these things are there, who will do what kind of work? So making a microprocessor or making a application processor requires a huge amount of effort, hundreds of man-years of effort. Okay, so who will put that effort? Which site? So there would be a site at Bangalore, there would be a site in San Jose, there will be a site in Austin, there will be a site in Jerusalem, and so on. So there will be sites all over the world. So which site will do which work? The planning and the partitioning part. This again is done largely by program managers. These program managers are also technical people. They understand what the technicalities are, but they have management degrees, or this role is also a largely management and managerial role. So this first part of the design that we looked at is more like nothing is done on silicon yet. In fact, nothing is done on even CAD yet. This is all back of the envelope, paper calculations, paper estimates, and surveys and all that. So any questions still here?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Devisha.
Sir, in the partition and planning phase, is that like since we have ARM processor, so there will be some part that will be taking time to get executed, and some part that will get executed in a smaller time. So is the partition requires the we need to partition it in a way that which part will be done by the hardware like FPGAs, and which part will be calculated by the software like CPUs and processors?
Yes, all of that is a part of this partitioning and planning team. So partitioning and planning team says that okay, यहाँ पे एक embedded software की team है, this team can do this. यहाँ पे एक team है जो ARM के अंदर specialize करती है, they will make the ARM course. Here is this team that specializes in GPU hardening, they will do the GPU part. And this is how we will bring together the entire product.
Okay, sir.
So this is largely done at a managerial level. This doesn't, but those are technical managers. They are not people who do not know anything about VLSI design or soft design. They themselves may have done soft design for many years, but they then moved into management roles and have, gained expertise through either a degree, actually going through a degree program or doing some trainings in-house or stuff like that. So just into the job, you will never get this kind of work. Okay.
Sir,
Unless you're joining at the very, very lowest rungs. Yes, Anuj.
sir, can I say this partition and planning similar to sprint planning?
No, sprint planning is more, what do you say, in the project kind of thing. This is top level program planning. So sprint planning, आप कह सकते हो कि 5 sites involved हैं, 5 को sprints दो, but sprints are not usually that long. See, when we're talking about an application processor, it may take about 1 to 2 years to build. Sprints are usually, a month or two, not longer than that, is it not? So you cannot really call it sprint planning. These plannings are not reviewed on a daily or a weekly basis. These plannings are reviewed on a quarterly basis only, or monthly basis only. So you cannot call them sprints.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So once we know what the which team what does what, we come to the stage of design implementation. Now this is where the designers come in. They say that okay, I have to make this ARM core. So where is the RTL? They pick up the RTL, they synthesize it. Along with the RTL, they will need to give more information about the size of L1 caches, L2 caches, and so on. So they will do the design entry part. Okay, and they will tell which kind of libraries to use, high voltage, high threshold voltage libraries, or low voltage, low threshold voltage libraries, depending on what kind of a speed requirement is there, and so on. So they will make a design entry and they will do a synthesis. Synthesis is basically telling, putting all this together and giving it the shape of a circuit. Okay, and then they will simulate. They will simulate to see multiple things. They will simulate first to see whether the functionality is achieved. Okay, then they will simulate also to see whether the performance is achieved, the speed is achieved. They will also simulate to see whether the power budget is within the target specifications. And they will also try to, through those simulations and synthesis iterations, try to reduce the area as much as possible, at least an area estimate as much as possible. Once the simulations are all fine, okay, you are within the target specifications, you are meeting the functional requirements and everything, you go on and do the physical design. Okay. Once the physical design is done, you verify that what you had designed in the schematic or the circuit is the same as what you have in the layout. Okay, and that stage is called design verification. So in this course, we will actually be somewhere. Okay, so we will enable all these stages, but as such, we are not visible in this zone as of now. Okay, जब हम इसके बाद वाली डिटेलिंग में जाएंगे तो हम विजिबल होना शुरू होंगे. अभी हम इस स्लाइड के लिए अभी हम बैकग्राउंड में हैं, अगर हम इस कोर्स की बात करते हैं तो. In terms of possible job options, so each one of these is a separate job in the industry. So these would be called as design architects. These would be called as front-end implementation jobs. This would also be front-end implementation. So there's differentiation between two kinds of front-end implementation. This is back-end implementation and this is design verification jobs. So all the companies that have soft design would have all these different roles in them, and each one of these blocks is a different job. So even here, when we looked at this, they were all different jobs, but these 5, when I look at these 5, they're all jobs that VLSI specialized students from IIIT can probably look at, immediately target. We are really preparing you for all these 5, and the backend, the background that goes behind these, that enables these 5 through the various courses that we conduct in the VLSI program at IIIT. Subsequently, once my layout is ready and it is verified that the layout represents the design intent, then we send the layout to the mask making workshop. So this process of sending the verified layout to the mask making workshop is called as tape out. Okay, so so when you will join a VLSI company, you will very often hear the term tape out. Tape out means that आपने जो design information है वो foundry को भेज दी, foundry उसके बाद masks order करेगी, masks जब order होंगे तो masks आने के बाद wafers fabricate होंगे. अब एक बार आपके पास wafers fabricate होके आ गए, then what you do is you kind of start to test. See, जब तक आपने fabricate नहीं करा था तब तक आपने ये check कर लिया कि आपका जो design है that is meeting the requirements. Okay, that the layout that you have designed is meeting the requirements of the initial design specification, initial requirement analysis that was given by the product marketing engineer. So अब वेफर आप तो सिलिकॉन चिप आ गया आपके हाथ में, चिप नहीं आया एग्जैक्टली, वेफर आ गया मतलब फैब्रिकेट होके आ गया. अब इनमें से कौन से चिप्स काम कर रहे हैं जो कस्टमर के पास जा सकते हैं वो आपको चेक करना होगा. इनमें से कौन से वेफर्स ठीक ही हैं अपने आप में वो भी आपको चेक करना होगा. तो आप अब वेफर प्रोटोटाइप टेस्टिंग शुरू करोगे. वेफर प्रोटोटाइप टेस्टिंग मतलब आप टेस्ट करोगे कि जो वेफर बन के आया वो मेरे विद इन द स्पेसिफिकेशंस था कि नहीं था. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने चाहा था कि जो मैं डिवाइसेस बनाऊंगा उनका जो थ्रेशोल्ड वोल्टेज है वो 400 मिलीवोल्ट हो, एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे. तो जब तक तो ये 400 मिलीवोल्ट प्लस माइनस 10% है, तब तक तो ठीक है. लेकिन अगर ये 500 मिलीवोल्ट हो गया तो गड़बड़ हो सकती है. मल्टीपल तरह की गड़बड़ हो सकती है. फर्स्ट, क्योंकि थ्रेशोल्ड वोल्टेज बढ़ गई, माय डिवाइस विल नाउ ऑपरेट स्लोअर, so I may not meet the specifications in terms of speed. Additionally, consider it like marathons. You know, marathons. All of you have seen marathon. नहीं कहूँगा मैं. Relay races. You've seen relay races? Anyone who has not seen a relay race? तो relay race में क्या होता है? Relay race में ये होता है that you have a person who has a baton in his hand. He runs and he gives the baton to the next person who would, and he would, the first person would stop after giving the baton, and the second person would start to run after taking the baton. So agar, if it's a 4-member relay race, then there will be 4 people who will be taking turns to pick up the baton, and they will, and all 4 have to run at the required speed or at a good speed to be able to finally win the game. So on silicon chips also, you know, for example, हम multi-threading चीजों के बारे में जानते हैं. We know that any task could be split into multiple smaller tasks, but finally the output will be given to the customer only when all the tasks are completed, whether they are small, you know, whichever processor a task went on. Until a task has not been completed, the green signal or the complete signal cannot be given to the user. So in a way there is a race condition there. You know, multiple tasks are running on multiple processors, each one of them racing to finish their tasks soon enough. And at times you want that one particular task should finish before the other task so that the inputs can be fed appropriately and so on. So imagine करो आपने यहाँ से, you know, from the start point you launched 7 runners. The 7 runners were supposed to give their batons to the next set of 7 runners. The last runner, you know, the 7th runner that you had, you decidedly made it the fastest. You decidedly made him, chose the fastest runner there because he is the outermost candidate. The outermost periphery would be slightly longer, so I make the fastest runner stand on the outer side, so that when the next process has to start, all the 7 runners are there at the finish line or at the transition point. But your VT changed to 500 millivolts from 400 millivolts. So this fastest runner has now become slow. And it may happen that this fastest runner will now not be able to reach the transition point on time, and the entire system may face a halt. So no one would run then. There could be different rules of the game, but मैं this metaphor की तरह कह रहा हूँ that in this game, you wanted all the 7 runners to reach the transition point. Only after all the 7 reach, the next part of the relay would start. So now the entire system has halted, it is waiting, and you are kind of wasting time. In fact, if it is that the entire system will wait, that is still okay because it is only wait. The worst thing would be that आपका जो chip fabricate हुआ उसके अंदर उसने weight भी पूरा नहीं करा. The weight states that you had added, they were also not sufficient, and you finally initiated the next process with 6 new data and 1 old data because the new data had not yet arrived, and your entire calculation will go haywire. Everything will actually fail. So it is very important that you test that your wafers are within spec, because if they are not, then many kinds of failures can appear on a chip. Primarily race conditions will fail, but even functionality failures can happen. When only race conditions fail, then at least functionality is fine. You will get the right output, but after some extra delay. But the functionality can also go for a toss if there are errors also in the other dependencies or the controlling circuits due to manufacturing errors. Okay. So once you've seen which that the dies have been so अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, I will jump between these two. Okay, they two may actually run in parallel. So you're doing wafer prototype test. आपने देखा कि जो wafer है इसके अंदर majority of devices 500 पे हैं. You may say I will scrap the wafer because based on your past experience you will realize that if the VT has shifted to 500 millivolts, I will get only 1 or 2 good dies out of this wafer. To get those 1 or 2 good dies, I do not want to waste my time testing 150 failing dies. So the cost of those 1 or 2 dies is not worth testing all those extra dies. We will come to this part as to why it is not worth, but I may actually reject the entire wafer. Now let us say that the wafer actually showed that the specifications were met, that the VTH was within 360 to 440 millivolts. Then you do a detailed wafer test. Now you test each and every die and you do die sorting. So now you know that, okay, my variation is within 360 to 440. I should expect a 60% yield or 70% yield. So you will go and check each and every die, whether it is functional or not. So you will sort the dies. Okay, so this is called die sort. You will sort the dies and you will say that, okay, these dies are working at 500 megahertz. These dies are working at 1 gigahertz. And these dies are also working at 1.5 gigahertz. So if you were Intel, you would say, okay, this 1.5 gigahertz thing, I will sell at $600. The 1 gigahertz thing, I will sell at $300. And the 500 megahertz thing, I will sell at $100. Okay. And something which does not even work at 500 megahertz, it might actually fail very soon after going into field. I will discard those dies. So this is called binning. This is a part of what we call as die sort. Okay. Yes, there's a question.
Sir, can you please once again tell about die sorting?
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, what is the difference between die and wafer?
Okay.
Sir,
Yes, Prayesh?
Is it like Intel, like they think that they'll be giving the process of 3.2 megahertz and all, or is it like in the process of making wafer they came to know that since some of the dies are working in this way, so we'll launch this kind of processor with this frequency? Like they
Mhm.
think that they'll be launching, they had a plan that they'll be launching 3.2 gigahertz and 3 gigahertz processor, or is it like in the process of making they get to know that okay, we are getting only the, like on testing we got that these processors are working at that, so if the number is sufficient we'll put them into a category and sell them as like this.
Okay. Anything else? So I will come to each of these questions. Anything else?
सर जैसे जब वेफर प्रोटोटाइप को टेस्ट हम कर रहे हैं तो एक्चुअल सिलिकॉन को टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन सर जब फिजिकल डिजाइन वेरिफिकेशन जब हम फिजिकल लेआउट का कर रहे हैं तो उसमें हम सर क्या टेस्ट कर रहे हैं?
हम खाली CAD व्यूज टेस्ट कर रहे हैं अक्षत वहाँ पे। जैसे तुमने स्कीमेटिक बनाया होगा कभी ना कभी, you must have made schematic in PSpice, HSpice somewhere.
Yes, yes.
So that is CAD view testing, only computer के ऊपर testing. On wafer you are actually seeing hardware.
Okay.
Sir, generally, what percentage of the fabricated chips fail?
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Hello.
Yes, Swapnil.
So when we talk about the die yield, so so does the company set a specific percentage requirement, or like how do they sort the, is there a minimum threshold which the foundry or a company sets? Like how does that work out? Like what is the minimum threshold of the die yield which a company would accept?
Okay, good. So
you said that in simulation we check regarding the functionality is achieved or not, or power requirement is achieved or not. Then again in this physical design layout we are making CAD, means we are designing that in our software, and then we are doing testing. So is it somewhat similar? I mean, simulation and physical design layout are somewhat similar. No, sir. Actually, in this physical design layout also we are testing, and then simulation also we are giving some inputs and then simulating.
yeah, we will just come to that. Yes, Anuj. So they are different. There are different steps. That is where they are put in different boxes. We will see what the difference in them is. I will review that again as we go into the next slides into more detail. मैंने कहा ना, we will start from a bird's eye view. Bird's eye view मतलब हम पूरा Milky Way galaxy का एक view ले रहे हैं, and then we are coming closer to our solar system. Then we will enter the solar system. We will come to Earth. We will enter Delhi, and then we will look at triple IIT Delhi, and then we will look at our classroom, and then we will look at even below our classroom, inside the desk what has gone into it. So अभी हम अपने classroom से और अपने उससे बहुत दूर बैठे हैं अभी, but yes, we will come into that aspect also. I will talk about that. So मैं start करता हूँ, नहीं तो मैं questions भूल जाऊंगा और आपके answers रह जाएंगे. Let me start answering your questions, and if after I start to move on, something is unanswered, please feel free to ask again. I might forget. आपने इतने सारे questions throw करे, तो I might forget, and I will be happy to answer them. Okay. So let's look at it like this. हमने कहा कि मैंने पहले schematic बनाया और मैंने schematic के अंदर एक target frequency set करी. मैंने कहा कि जो मैं पूरा डिजाइन बना रहा हूँ, that should be able to operate at, let us say, 2.4 gigahertz. Now tell me one thing, do all of you have a pen and a paper with you? Pen, paper, pencil, something with you?
Yes, sir.
So what I want you to do now is, I want you to write your name. I want you to write your name. Do you know that, what is the most loved sound that any one of us has? It is the sound of our names. हमारा नाम हम सबको इतना पसंद होता है that, and we love to hear our names as many times as possible. ठीक है? So what I want you to do is, जो आपका favorite word है, आपका नाम, you write your name 10 times on that sheet of paper. The target is that each of these 10 times the name has to be exactly the same. आपने जो 10 repetitions लिखोगे, they should be exactly the same. बिल्कुल same दिखने चाहिए. You have 10 times लिखना है, तो you have 30 seconds to do that. या जिनका नाम बहुत बड़ा है, तो we take 45 seconds. Okay, your time starts now. Write your name 10 times. Exactly the same. Okay, it should look exactly the same all the 10 times. So once you are done, you can enter yes in the chat window. Okay, so I get it. All of you have done it now. Great. So tell me one thing. क्या वो 10 के 10 repetitions exactly same थे?
No, sir.
नहीं हुआ. क्यों नहीं हुआ? What happened? मैंने तो कहा था बहुत क्लियरली कि एग्जैक्टली सेम बनाओ. क्यों नहीं बनाया आपने? आप मेरे से डरते नहीं हो?
It can depend on lot of factors.
Like?
Sir, time constraint were also there.
तो आपको मेरे से डर नहीं लगता है इसका मतलब?
Sir,
अब मैं अगर आपके मार्क्स काटना शुरू कर दूं तो सॉरी.
Each and every time we write a error, pen nib might go into different direction. We might not have the complete control on it.
सर टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट नहीं भी होता तो भी सर वो अगर मैं धीरे धीरे भी लिखता तो फिर मेरी स्पीड धीरे हो जाती और स्पीड धीरे हो जाती तो भी सर थोड़ा फ्लक्चुएशन आता ही.
तो अगर मैं यही चीज आपको कहूं कि आप प्रिंट करो तो क्या 10 बार नाम सेम आएगा?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
लेकिन अब क्योंकि आप प्रिंट कर रहे हो, ask you to print, I want you to write to print it 10,000 times. So will all the 10,000 times will it be exactly same?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so it means you guys have not done printing enough, huh? So when you print 10,000 times, you will see that it does not come same. Because what happens? The printer would heat up, the temperature of the ink would change. If you have a laser printer, even then the temperature at which the laser printer will print would change. The ink may vary a little bit more, less, something. So up, just experiment. Try to print something same page 10,000 times. No, I don't waste that much of paper. I'm already telling you it will not come same. Okay. So what is happening? While I wanted it to be exactly the same. See, आपने जब word में document में अपना नाम 10,000 times लिखा, आपका intent ये था कि same font में लिखा है, same size में लिखा है, it should appear exactly the same way on the paper that you print out of it. But in reality, there were some variations which were not in your control, due to which somewhere there was a slight smudging with the ink, somewhere the letters were slightly wider, somewhere the letters were slightly thinner. Then as the roller moved, somewhere the letters, roller के अंदर भी अपना पूरा stability नहीं था, roller was also थोड़ा बहुत ऊंचा नीचा. So many things. The paper was not perfect in itself. There was some variation in the paper thickness also. Fibrous, paper is finally paper fiber से बनता है, तो fiber था. So many things because of which each repetition of your name doesn't look the same. This is something that you really love the most in the world, and you wanted it to be exactly the same. But come whatever may, you cannot make it exactly the same. Am I right? So अब हम ये कह रहे हैं कि there is going to be a manufacturing process जहाँ पे आपको एक ट्रांजिस्टर को एक बार, 10 बार, 10,000 बार नहीं, a single SoC would have billions of transistors on it. So now you want those billions of transistors on every die. So एक wafer पे, so okay, what is a wafer and what is a die? So let us look at this. I will share another screen with you. I'll just share another screen with you. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So, a silicon wafer is this big circular thing on which you will make your chips. But you've seen your chips are all square. So this silicon wafer, let us say it has a diameter of, let us say for now, 12 inches or 300 millimeter. ठीक है? So this is 300 millimeter. मतलब 1 फुट बड़ा ये आपका वेफर है, लेकिन जो आपके सेलफोन के अंदर चिप लगा है वो तो छोटा सा ही है. आप 1 फुट बड़ा तो सेलफोन नहीं उठाते हो अपने हाथ में. तो इसका मतलब जो चिप्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं वो चिप्स इस वेफर के ऊपर बनते हैं. Okay, so what you do is you make multiple copies of that chip on this wafer. So you will try to cover as much area of the wafer as possible and get as many functional dyes on it as is possible. ठीक है? So this is your wafer then. Am I right? And this wafer would have hundreds and hundreds of dyes on it. ठीक है? So in addition to those hundreds of dyes, what you also do is, in these, the intersections of the red lines or the red lines, जहाँ पे आप उन dyes को cut करोगे, you put some test structures. तो आप इन जगह पे कुछ जगह पे, I wanted a green pen, sorry. आप इन कुछ जगह पे wafer के अंदर test structures put कर देते हो. You're able to see the green dots?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you would put some test structures at multiple locations in the wafer. When the wafer comes out, you will first test only these green dots. Okay, how many green dots do you test? Typically you test only 7 locations on a wafer. Depending on the product and the margins involved, you may test 9, but typically 7. Okay, 7 से कम भी नहीं करते, but 7 तो करते हैं. So you will test 7 locations on this wafer. Which are these 7 locations? It could be, physically spread out. So there are multiple locations जहाँ पे ये test pads पड़े हैं, लेकिन आप इनमें से किन्हीं 7 को खाली test करोगे, which you define early on. जो हमने पहले कहा ना, functional spec और test spec, उसी टाइम पे ही आप डिसाइड कर लोगे कि इस वेफर में इतनी टेस्ट साइट्स को आपको टेस्ट करना है वेफर लेवल पे, एंड वो साइट्स कौन सी होनी है. यस गुरुवीर.
Sir, can you tell in English, sir?
Oh, thank you. So what you want to do is, you want to test only 7 of these sites, at most 9, depending on which product it is, but not more than that, not too much more. Okay, so there will be these green sites all over the wafer somewhere, and when you were defining the test specifications early on, that at that time itself you would say that in the wafer sort I would test 7 locations or 10 locations or how many locations. Now of those 7 locations, you will see what is the variation. So one thing that we have understood is that there are going to be variations when I'm trying to build. So even if every wafer has just 1 billion transistors, every die has just 1 billion transistors, there are hundreds of dies. So in this particular wafer per se, I might have 400 billion transistors if the die size is small, or 100 billion transistors if there are 100 dies on this wafer. Okay, so we understand that even with the best of control that we may want to bring in, these 100 billion transistors are not going to look alike. They're not going to behave alike. They're not going to have same VT. This much we have understood with our little 10 times repetition of our names experiment. Anyone has a doubt in this, that there will be variations on this 10 billion transistors? Okay, so now these 10 billion transistors are going to be different, but I'm not going to check all these 10 billion different VTs. I will test only 7 VTs, 7 threshold voltages, or 7 sets of threshold voltages on this wafer, and I will see whether my wafer is in specification or not. If these 7 randomly selected locations, if these 7 randomly selected locations show that my wafer is in specifications, only then I will do the die testing. Otherwise, I'm not even doing die testing. I'm only doing wafer sort. Wafer मैंने देखा, wafer is not working, I will throw the wafer away. Only when these 7 locations look okay, I will go ahead and do die testing. Now, what is die testing? Die testing is also presently done, or will typically be done at wafer level. What does it involve? It involves that my tester will go to each and every die. Suppose it comes to this die, and it will apply some functional tests on it, some functional patterns. It will apply some functional patterns on it, and after those functional patterns are applied, it would see that is my output in agreement with what I had expected it to be. Okay, that is, am I getting, I sent in an image. I had asked this image to be converted to black and white. is the image that came out of this particular chip actually black and white and without any smudges, without any other aberrations. So if it is so, I will say, okay, this particular die is functional. Okay, this particular die is functional, and I will send it for packaging. So I will come back to the slides again. Just give me a moment. So I will then, once I have tested that this particular die is functional, I will send it for packaging. Now, there was also this question about, or this concept of binning, wafer sort and die sorting. So when I see that, okay, this die is functional, I can send it for packaging, but I also see at what frequency this is functional. See, I had targeted 2.4 gigahertz. Now, due to variations, some devices on this particular die in the critical path may be made in such a way that this is only able to operate at 2.2 gigahertz. So when I send it to packaging, I will send it in a bin of 2.2 gigahertz, and it will be packaged in one way. उस पैकेज के ऊपर स्टैंप लगा होगा i5 का, ठीक है, या उस पे स्टैंप लगा होगा, which will help me recognize that this is a 2.2 gigahertz die. There is another die which actually was able to operate. I had designed at 2.4, but this particular die was able to operate at, let us say, 2.6 gigahertz. Okay, I will send it into a different bin जहां पे मैं लेबल लगाऊंगा 2.6 gigahertz का. The remaining dies which are within the range of 2.4 gigahertz, I will have this third bin which says 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, so the question was, does Intel plan to do it like this? Yes, Intel already plans that. I know there are bound to be variations. Okay, I know there are bound to be variations. Some dies will work fast, some dies will work slow. Depending on what the requirement analysis of the marketing teams have told, I will already define a spec which says I will test at 2.6, 2.4 and 2.2, and I will do the binning accordingly. So Intel knows even before the product design has started what bins it will keep, because it knows only that will sell. It could have kept a bin of 1.2 gigahertz also, but that would not sell. My voice is breaking. Is it for everyone, or is it so everyone is facing this trouble?
No, sir. Voice is fine.
Okay, because at my end the network is actually showing to be good. Okay. So, we could say that there was some die which was functioning at 1.2 gigahertz also. So why don't we sell that also in the market? Kuch to paisa milega. But that was not even a part of the test plan. I will not even test this die if it is selling at 2.2 gigahertz. I will not test what frequency it will work at, because the gains in terms of, if I am selling the 2.2 gigahertz die at $100, a 1.2 gigahertz die would probably only fetch me $10. It is not worth testing it and arriving at that 1.2 gigahertz. So this was never even a part of my test spec. Test spec के दौरान ही Intel बोल देता है कि किन तरह के binning करेगा, what kind of binning it will do. Okay, so Intel already plans that, and then it sends the dies for sorting. After sorting for packaging. Once the die has been packaged, okay.
Hello, sir.
Then
sorry to interrupt, but I have a question. Like,
yes,
सर जब हम 1.2 गीगाहर्ट्ज बन चुका है डाई, तो हमको पहले टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा, तभी तो पता चलेगा 1.2 गीगाहर्ट्ज की है. तो उसको सेल करने में प्रॉब्लम क्या है फिर? लाइक जब टेस्ट हो ही चुका है तो उसको सेल भी कर सकते हैं.
नहीं, टेस्ट नहीं करा ना हमने टेस्ट स्पेक के अंदर वी हैड ऑलरेडी सेड ओनली kept frequencies to be tested were 2.2, 2.4 and 2.6. The test spec, which was made in the first part of the design requirement analysis, said only these three frequencies, that in the market only these three will sell at the margin that we want. Okay. So I have not even tested at 1.2. I'm telling you as a designer that I know it will still work at 1.2. Itna safe to tha mera design. But it was not tested. The die is scrapped. Because to test if it is even functional at 1.2 or not functional at 1.2, I will need to do some testing. It has a cost. The money that this die will fetch will not be able to cover this additional cost. So I rather throw it away.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
So, sir, the die which you are talking about, it's still a silicon, like it's a plain silicon wafer, like a sub part of the wafer. Am I right?
It's a rectangular chip. Yes.
Okay.
It's a chip now.
Okay, it's a chip now. So we have the transistors and all embedded onto it.
Everything is fabricated on it. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
I have a
It is
doubt.
only after fabrication that you test. Yes, Sahib.
Sir, when I have said the targeted chip will operate at 2.4 gigahertz, and then when I test the die, it comes out to be 1.2 gigahertz. So I will discard that die.
Yeah, because I will not see. I decided I will test only at 2.2, 2.4, and 2.6. Now, if the die was functional at 1.2, it will immediately fail at 2.2 gigahertz, na? So I will discard it there and then.
Okay, sir.
So basically here what we are trying to do is we have used the three conditions like 2.2, 2.4, 2.6, and whichever die satisfies these three frequency ranges, I will use them, and if they are not satisfying, then I will simply say fail and I will discard it. Sir, is my understanding correct?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So once I know that this die can work, can be sold to a customer, only then I send it for packaging. I do not want to bear the cost of packaging also for those dies which are failing. Okay. Why waste money, na? So after packaging, again, there could be some errors that could creep in during packaging. When you package a die, there are additional inductances that come into picture. There are resistances that come into picture. And it can happen that your die after packaging will not function. So you have to do testing even after packaging. So you do package prototype test and you do package test and sort. Again, after testing, after packaging, you resort. You say that, okay, does the bin continue to be 2.6 gigahertz, or this particular die, because of package inefficiency, is now to be moved to 2.4 gigahertz or 2.3 gigahertz bin. Okay, so you do that sort again. And after this, you ship the die. Because now you know that after packaging, this particular die is operating at 2.2 gigahertz. I will sell it at $100. Or after packaging, this die is operating at 2.6 gigahertz. I can sell it at a premium of $360 or something like that, whatever.
So,
yes.
So when we talk about packaging here, do we actually mean a physical encapsulation over the die, or actually putting it over a PCB? Like, is there a hello? Hello?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes.
So you were not audible if you were answering my question.
Yeah. Am I audible now, Swapnil?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. So packaging means जो आपका silicon था. See, silicon is something like silver colored thing. Okay.
Correct.
Silver or that colored thing. Now you need to, अब silicon के ऊपर आपने wires लगा, आपको finally तो एक you finally have to put that silicon onto a PCB somewhere. Now how will you bring the pad on the silicon to the PCB? You need a wire. What you do is you package this silver colored stuff into that black colored package.
Basically attaching all the pins and the padding to it. Could be one.
Yes. You connect all the pins of the die with the pins of the package. That is where you add inductances, you add resistances, and you add additional capacitors. That is where it may happen that after packaging, some two wires got shorted. So essentially, two inputs or two outputs of a die got shorted, and therefore the die is not functional now.
Right.
Okay. So after packaging, again, you have to test that is it functional. Okay.
And sir, I had one question about the yield percentage, if you could comment on that also.
Yeah. So yes, उस पे आते हैं. So typically, yield is said to be inversely proportional to the area. Yield of any die is inversely proportional to the area of the die. Okay, so what does this mean? Let us take that wafer wala example again. Okay, in fact, let me go back to that earlier screen. Let me switch the sharing with you guys. Just give me a moment. Are you able to see my screen yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay, just give me a moment. So my Google Chrome has stopped responding. I don't know for what reason, but am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
I'm audible. So somehow the connection is there, but my Google Chrome has stuck. So of 1 centimeter square. Okay.
So if you are speaking, you're not audible to us.
So your voice is cracking up.
Sir, not audible.
You know, so if you count the number of years that you have,
So you're not audible.
Sir,
So you're not audible.
So we can't hear you.
I can't
No,
hear
we
you.
can't hear you.
am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now it is audible.
Yeah, sorry for this disturbance. My Google Chrome had crashed, so I had no option but to restart that. So we were at this point. We said that suppose this is my wafer. In fact, let me change this. Let us say we look at a new wafer. Okay. So let us say this is my wafer, and I have a chip. I have a design which is suppose 10 millimeter square. Okay. So this is a wafer. I have a design which is 10 millimeter square. So I am able to make multiple 10 millimeter square. Let's say a design which is 100 millimeter square. Okay. So I have a design which, so I have some dies which are possible on this wafer. So now if you just count how many dies can I actually manufacture on a wafer successfully. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Now this one has a cut over here. चलो मान लेते हैं कि ये भी पूरी हमने किसी तरह से फिट कर दी थी. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. So if my die is, let us say, 100 millimeter square, I am able to make 23 dies on a particular wafer. Now, do you realize that when I manufacture a wafer, the cost of manufacturing, whether I manufacture 23 dies on it or 100 dies on it, will remain the same? Can you see this point? The process I have to do on the wafer is exactly the same. How many dies I make on it is just depending on the size of my chip. Now, suppose my area, instead of 10 millimeters, 100 millimeter square, was, let us say, 25 millimeter square. Now what happens? Now what happens is that, in fact, in each of these dies, I have 4 dies. Are you able to see this? Because my area is 1/4. So what is happening is total number of dies is increasing. Do you see the number of dies that are now available to me in itself has increased multifold, not just 4 times. It has increased multifold also because this die, this die, this die, this die, these 3 dies, some die over here, these dies, so many additional dies are now in the picture, can be manufactured, can be used. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one immediate benefit that happened by reducing area was that जितना भी आपने area reduce करा, you benefited, you increased your profit margin more than the area that you had reduced. That is the first, because physically more number of dies could come over here. Okay. Now let us see that, or let us understand that there could be faults. Okay. There could be faults that would appear on the dies. Why would those faults appear? These faults would appear because there was a dust particle that came and settled on the wafer in one of those so many processes that you would go through during the manufacturing process. So dust particles came and settled on the wafer, which led to errors. I am showing those dust particles now with, let us say, blue pen. So there is a dust particle here. I am going to put 10 dust particles randomly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have put 10 dust particles there. Okay. Now, I was able to manufacture 23 dies earlier. Incidentally, while I put those 10 dust particles randomly, you will see that 10 of those earlier dies. So this die has failed, this die has
So you're not
Sir,
audible.
you are not audible.
So I'm sorry, till what point was I audible in the last session?
So you were
Sir,
speaking about that you inserted some dust particles and that one of the die had failed. That's it.
Yeah. So we inserted 10 dust particles randomly. Okay, due to which each dust particle led to say one failure. So all these 10 dies failed. I had designed 23 dies. Out of these 23 dies, only 10 are functional. If we assume that the cost of manufacturing the wafer was $300, only 10 dies are functional now. So the cost of each die is only is $30 now. Are you with me? Any
Yes, sir.
questions till now? Now let us say we consider the second case where we had these 25 millimeter square chip. So first, instead of just 100 dies, I actually had, let us say, 150 dies that could be manufactured. Okay, and out of those 150 dies, if I look at it now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Out of those 150, these 10 dies have failed. So actually 140 dies are functional. So do you realize that by reducing the area, I first increased the number of dies that I have, and then I also reduced the penalty due to defects. So my yield changed from say less than 40% or just about 40% to almost 90% over here, more than 90% over here. Are you with me till here? How area is impacting yield? As you reduce area, your yield improves.
Sir, but you said that every die is a chip, right?
Yes.
So that die should have a finite fixed size, right? So as you're reducing area, how can you create smaller dies by increasing the partition? Since each die should have a.
So it is, yeah. So see, as a designer, you will size circuits. So if you make larger size of circuits, a circuit could actually work with one femtofarad or 1 picofarad capacitor, but you said I want to be safe. I will put a 10 picofarad capacitor there. So you will take more area. You want it to be safe. So you take more area. You design large circuits.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that this 100 millimeter square wafer chip is the same design as 25 millimeter square chip. I'm not saying this. You cannot really have 75% bloat up because of such design decisions. But let us say 100 की जगह 50 हो जाता या 75 भी हो जाता. I use 25 so that I can do a gross, I can show it to you in the face of it that see such gain in yield can happen if you have a smaller chip.
Yeah.
Okay, that is where I use the number 25. But what I wanted to conclude at was that when you reduce the area, your yield would increase for the same process. The process defectivity is still the same. There are only still 10 defects on the entire wafer. But my yield has gone to higher than 90%. So
Yes.
in VLSI, area is considered as gold. Area is like gold. You simply do not throw away area. It is precious.
So,
sir,
How many of you have seen the Lord of the Rings movie series? Anyone of you have read Lord of the Rings? Seen the series?
Seen the series.
Oh, you've seen the series. So you see my precious there. So that is how you should look at area. Area is that precious thing that you simply cannot do away with it. Because now for those 300, for the cost of your every die is just about $2.x. Instead of $30, you are able to manufacture a die in $2.
Sir,
So if you were selling this die for $35, earlier you had only $5 profit. Now you have $33 profit. Aapka profit has gone 6 times. More than 6 times.
So the question, so that I mean the total cost remained fixed, right? Even if we partitioned it
Yeah.
into smaller die, the entire cost didn't change.
Yes. The cost of manufacturing the wafer was exactly the same. Now you need to do as many or exactly the same steps, whatever the size of your die is it not?
Sir, I have a question. Like when we are reducing the area of
Yes, Naman.
die, particular die circuit, then complexity will also increases. And complexity takes the increases the area, because अगर सर more complex circuit build करना है तो उसके लिए ज़्यादा cost लगेगा, like something like.
Okay, so what you are saying is, so what Naman is saying is that when I reduce the die area, so he's saying that when I reduce the die area from say 100 millimeter square to say 75 millimeter square, then the example that I gave to Rohit was that instead of designing a 10 picofarad capacitor, you design a 1 picofarad capacitor because you know from your design that it is safe. So he says that I have reduced design margins. So because I have reduced design margins, there will be some loss in yield because of that. So I would say if you reduce design margin, do more rigorous CAD analysis. Do more rigorous CAD analysis, make your design more robust, and let us say there is an additional 1% marginal yield loss. So instead of 140 dies, let us say आपका 1% और marginal yield loss हुआ, you got only 135 dies. मैंने 2%, 3% marginal yield loss कह दिया. Okay, but still this is 135 dies. Look at it. You are still less than $3 in cost. Your profit margin has increased to, you see. So are you able to see the correlation between die area and the profit that a company will make?
Yes, sir.
So area, therefore, in any VLSI thing is gold. I've seen people really being very careless about area, and it is a pity. It is a pity because they do not realize that they are putting the profitability of their organization, of their company at stake. Okay, so area is something which is sacrosanct, which you have to preserve at whatever cost. Even if you need to do more CAD analysis, even if you need to reduce design margins and have some marginal yield loss, you will still want to save area. Okay.
So
Yes.
okay. Hello. So if I may go first.
Yes, sir.
So we do say that area is the gold standard, and
Yes,
we do
Swapnil?
not, yes, sir. We do not compromise area at any cost. So, but like when we are moving to a smaller area, we're reducing the size of the transistor or some other components also. Like earlier, they used to have a concept called Dennard scaling. If you have heard about, like the Dennard scaling concept, if you say that the transistor gets smaller, the area, the power remains the proportionate constant. So, but earlier, like around 10-15 years ago, the Dennard scaling broke down. So that was no longer valid. So the power gets compromised, right? If you go to the so like the Dennard scaling is no longer valid. So if you go smaller and smaller, the power would not remain constant.
So what is the question, Swapnil?
No, so my question was basically to maybe I just wanted to confirm that basically what am I saying is right or not. Like would that remain the case? Like area would remain.
So what you are asking is exactly what Shadman has also asked. So Shadman is asking that is it related to 14 nanometer, 10 nanometer and 7 nanometer technologies? No, अभी मैं scaling की बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Because as you do the scaling, we will see in the next few slides, as we go to further scaling, the cost of manufacturing would change. I am saying I am talking about the same process. अगर हम 65 nanometer में हैं, तो we are talking about 65 nanometer only, and we are fabricating 2 dies in 65 nanometer, 2 designs in 65 nanometers. One design has been made in such a way that it wastes area, so it is larger, and another one has been made very densely. I'm still talking about same technology here.
Same technology.
So actually, in the difference in the die, the smaller die and larger die is not the scaling, but the design complexity, right? How we have designed the circuit so that we can cut it off in smaller die sizes or larger.
You
die
cannot
sizes.
always say that. So Badri, you cannot always say that smaller is more complex. Simple is also smaller. In fact, you will realize pretty soon when we go inside the course that many times simpler is smaller in area. It is in times of when we want to make a very, very complex circuit that you add more and more devices, and that is what increases the area. In reality, simpler is better.
Like, I
Less
was just
complex
trying to
and also
see
smaller.
what goes into reducing this area. Like, what exactly are the trade-offs? That, like, is it just a design effort that we
So
put
it could be design it could be, yes, it is design effort. As I said, number of verifications that you do. It could be the kind of architecture that you have used. Instead of CMOS, you use dynamic logic, and we will study that in this course, that when you use dynamic logic, you reduce area. So it could be design architecture. It could be many things that you could do to save area and things like that. So what I'm saying is that if you can't save area, focus on saving area. Save area as much as possible. Area is gold, because area means yield, area means profitability. In VLSI, if you do not take care of area, you are a big zero, because you're not profitable. Okay. Anushri, you had a question?
Yes, sir. So in circular wafer will always have, like, some dies will always be ruined, right? So why don't we use square wafers? I mean, in that we can utilize the corner dies also.
Yeah.
So
So
why
when
don't we do that?
we will come to that. We will come to that, Anushri. Just park this question with you. Abhi to aaj ki class ka time is kind of finishing. So probably in the next class we will come to that. And then I will ask you to tell me whether we should have square wafers or circular wafers are fine. Yes?
Okay.
सर आपने जैसे अभी बताया कि मतलब मेरे को जो समझ में आया कि आप स्केलिंग का बोल रहे हैं, तो स्केलिंग मतलब सेम टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करना और उसका साइज छोटा करना, और अगर हमें
नहीं,
मतलब
wait.
स्केलिंग के अलावा
Prayas. Scaling
Yes,
means
sir.
technology
Yes, sir.
has changed. The example that I gave was in the
Okay.
same technology. I was saying that in the same technology, if you can design something in lesser area, you will make your system, your design much more profitable.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So Shubham, that is what we need to verify. If 10 picofarad capacitor was put just for safety, and 1 picofarad capacitor would have given you an output which was still within the specifications that were set in the first phase of the design, then you don't need to put 10 picofarads. So, see, a specification was set. If you're meeting that specification, then why you want to over-design? Don't over-design, yaar. No point, because you are impacting the profitability of your organization. Okay. So should we move forward now?
Yes, sir.
So let me come back to the slides then. Where is the slide? So just give me a moment. So we were here, we said that once we understand that a particular die is functional at the desired frequency, we say that go ahead, ship. Okay, and you charge the customer according to the output that you've given him, whether he is operating at 2.6 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, or 2.2 gigahertz. Okay. I think this is an entirely different abstraction, so we'll come to this in the next class. I think we'll have to close here because there is not much time left. So in today's class, we just covered one slide. Okay, and but I sincerely hope that you got a good view of the entire SOC to from requirement analysis to shipping flow. I hope that you got a good view. Whatever we talked about in today's slide, we will cover some parts of it, in different, and we will refer to today's lecture many times in this course. Okay, this is a very basic concept that we discussed today. So I'm happy that we took this kind of time, because now at least you understand what is VLSI in a much better way. Okay, any questions you have? So I can possibly take a question or two, and then we can close the class.
Sir, what is the difference between package test and package prototype test?
So package prototype test is, जैसे हमने कहा था, when we looked at the wafer, we said, okay, wafer prototype test, I will test only 7 locations. So package prototype test, you may say something like checking that, okay, all my pins are like, there is no shorting between the pins. That the overall current consumption of any pin is not more than, say 1 milliamperes ever, 1 microamperes, whatever, So that is package prototype test. अभी आप package के अंदर की die को test भी नहीं कर रहे हो. You're not given any patterns. First thing that you test on a package is this package functional? Are my IOs fine? कहीं ESD की वजह से ही तो failure नहीं आ गया, electrostatic discharge की वजह से ही तो something has not failed. Kahin shorting, no 2 wires have shorted when I was connecting those pads from the die onto the package pin. So the first test is that test. That is what is package prototype test. That the package is fine. Only after those things are done, you apply patterns and see that things are functional or not.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I just want to confirm what I understood. सर जैसे हमें 65 नैनोमीटर टेक्नोलॉजी बनानी है, ये सर हम पहले ही डिजाइन एनालिसिस और डिजाइन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में और कैडेंस, रिगरस कैडेंस कर लेंगे और उसके बाद हम फिर उसको डिजाइन करेंगे.
ये this you will know early on, जो design requirement stage है ना, that is where you will tell that I want to make this design in 65 nanometers. This requirement analysis stage itself.
हाँ तो सर 65 नैनोमीटर आ गया, अब ये मिनिमम एरिया होगा, इससे ज्यादा हम रिड्यूस कर ही नहीं सकते, मतलब हर डाई का 65 नैनोमीटर ही होगा जिसमें यील्ड मैक्सिमम आए.
So Sahil, 65 nanometer is the dimension of the length of your transistor. 65 nanometer is not area of your die. Area of your die depends on what all is there, how many ARM cores are there, how many PLLs are there, how many ADC DACs are there, how many GPUs are there. Area is defined by that. If you say that I will have a huge L2 cache, your area will increase, for example. So area is defined by the contents. 65 nanometer is a technology which says how fast or how dense how closely you can place your transistors. So technology tells how closely you can place your transistors. Area is also determined by how many transistors you need to place. Okay, so the content, if there is more content, you will naturally have more area.
Okay, sir, and every die will have same area.
Every die will have same area, yes, of that particular design. So it is at this stage itself, when there was also a question about partitioning and planning, we also see that, is it worth making a die which is 200 millimeter square big, or should I make 2 dies which are 100 millimeter square large? So I'm talking about the same content, 200 millimeter square worth of content, but I'm putting it in 2 dies, partitioning it in 2 dies. And you will see that partitioning it in smaller dies will increase the product ka profit margin significantly. It will degrade the performance, but it will improve the profit margin significantly. So that is also a decision that happens in this stage.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Guruveer.
Sir, can we take the usage of K-maps as an example for reduction in area, sir?
Yes, in some way. That you have the same functionality, but you're using lesser number of transistors.
Okay, sir.
So Naman, you do not check 7 blocks. So in the wafer prototype testing, if you come to this particular thing, in the wafer prototype testing, you're not testing these dies yet. आप इन dies को नहीं check कर रहे हो. You're only testing these green test sites. They are special test sites. This is the first test to see whether the wafer is in spec or not. After you have checked that this wafer is in spec, you will actually go and test each and every die over here. Okay.
सर इन केस वेफर हमने सर प्रोटोटाइप टेस्टिंग की और जो सर उसकी टेस्टिंग साइट थी उससे पता चला कि वो मतलब फेल हो रहा है वेफर सर अब तो उस पूरे वेफर को हम स्टार्ट कर देंगे
Yes.
सर लेकिन
That
अब इस
that
सर
bigger
ये
decision is taken.
मतलब सर ये जो मतलब जो भी सर डिसफंक्शनैलिटी हुई है सर ये पुराने सारे स्टेप्स पे डिपेंड करती है तो सर वी हैव टू रीस्टार्ट ऑल द प्रोसेसेस फ्रॉम द डिजाइन एंट्री स्टेप इटसेल्फ
No.
maybe
So this could be because, for example, when we will come to the manufacturing steps wala cheez. So see, you will manufacture hundreds and hundreds of wafers for a particular design when you are in the production line. Hundreds of wafers you will design. Of that, this one wafer has these 7 entries which are out of spec. So you rejected this one wafer, and the other wafers are still in use. It is not कि आपके design में गड़बड़ है. Okay.
Okay, it's due to the defects that occurred during the time of manufacturing.
Yes. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we are making large number of dice from single wafer, right, sir?
Yes.
All the dice are using for same functionality or different functionality, sir?
So we will come to it. We will come to it when we look at the manufacturing process in closer detail. I will cover that then. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then it's already 12 o'clock. Many of you have to attend your next class. I understand. So if you wish, you can leave. I will keep the music on for a little while so that when you go, you still have the music playing in your ears. Okay.
Thank
you. Yeah. Bye-bye. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
हाँ प्रखर, I'm here. So
Sir, can you just wait for 5 minutes?
हाँ, I'm here. Don't worry.
Sir, can I ask a doubt meanwhile?
So if it is a doubt which can help the entire class, I would prefer that you ask it in the next class. If it is a very specific private doubt, then you can ask me now.
Okay, sir. It was regarding the one which I asked you before, like the percentage of success in the chip.
So that we just saw now that if the area is large, we could have very less yield. If the area is small, the yield can be very high, 90% also, 95% also.
Generally.
So it depends on the area. There is no general number there. So when you decide the size of your chip, that is when you also decide a target yield, because that is how you will price your chip, na?
Yes, sir.
You see the difference. One die which was smaller costed only $3. How can you sell it at 35? Some competition will come and sell it at 10. So you will be out of market. So you have to do the pricing also with the target yield in mind. So all those things are taken care of at the time of the requirement analysis and everything.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Got it, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yeah, friends, I'm not going to show anything new. Yes, Akshat.
Sir, like when we talk about like कि 12 गीगा मतलब 3 गीगाहर्ट्ज पे काम कर रहा है प्रोसेसर या 2 गीगाहर्ट्ज, सर ये स्पीड से प्रोसेसर की किस तरह से रिलेटेड हुआ सर? जैसे हम लोग वैसे बात करते हैं जब सिंपल माइक्रो प्रोसेसर की, तो वो मशीन साइकिल से हम देखते हैं कि इतने मशीन साइकिल्स एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा है पर सेकंड। लेकिन सर अगर यहाँ पे हम फ्रीक्वेंसी से अगर इस चीज का रिलेशन देख रहे हैं तो सर ये स्पीड से किस तरह से रिलेटेड हो रहा है? मतलब पर्टिकुलरली सर उस फ्रीक्वेंसी का क्या मतलब है?
So almost all the designs that you will see today are synchronous design. Synchronous design means they have a clock. There are flip-flops which sample whatever was written inside the flops at that particular point of time. So there is a clock edge that we are waiting for. Once the clock edge arrives, you sample it, and that is where. So it is the clock frequency at which everything is working fine that we are talking about over here. Okay? Because we're talking about synchronous designs.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, all the best. So my friends, you can leave. I have a short discussion to do with Prakhar, so others can leave.
Sir, so can I start?
हाँ, please बताओ.
सर हाँ सर, एक्चुअली मैंने बात की है अभी प्लेसमेंट कमेटी से, So they told कि yes we can do this. So आपसे वही पूछना था कि जो एड ड्रॉप में अभी कल लास्ट डेट एड ड्रॉप का, तो should I remove all those caption and all these things and IP सेम में करना होगा कि
नहीं, ऐसा मत करो. We will observe. So you want to complete your thesis also in this semester itself? You want to rescope the work in such a way that thesis is also finished in this semester, or you want to continue working on the thesis in the next semester? What is the plan?
तो आई कंटिन्यू लाइक जैसे आपने फर्स्ट मीटिंग में बोला था कि वी विल कंटिन्यू टिल आई थिंक January, and then we'll need to write the thesis. So I think that would be fine. That idea would be fine then.
So you will register for some thesis credits in the next semester also. Am I right या नहीं? तुम thesis से सारा का सारा credits अभी register करना चाहते हो? What is the plan? That is what I'm asking.
में नहीं होगा क्योंकि पैसे भी थीसिस का जो लिखना है वो तो फेब मार्च में लिखूंगा और जैन तक काम होगा ही.
हाँ,
तो इन केस कोई डिफरेंस
नहीं डिफरेंस है ना. मैं सॉल्यूशन मैं सजेशन वही दे रहा हूँ. देखो क्या होता है टिपिकली प्रकार आज तक जितने भी बच्चे मेरे पास आए हैं ना, सब ने इंटर्नशिप लगने के बाद अपने थीसिस को कैप्स्टोन में कन्वर्ट करवाया है.
ओके.
क्योंकि वो कहते हैं कि हम थीसिस को साथ साथ नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, तो अगर तो सपोज तुम्हारा इंटर्नशिप ऐसा जॉब ऐसी जगह पे लगता है जो इंसिस्ट करते हैं इंटर्नशिप है, ठीक है, तो हम ऐसा करेंगे, हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि हम अगले सेमेस्टर में थीसिस के क्रेडिट्स रजिस्टर करवा लें और अपने इन वाले क्रेडिट्स को थीसिस में कन्वर्ट करवा लें.
ओके.
कैप्स्टोन टू थीसिस एंड थीसिस टू कैप्स्टोन, बोथ कन्वर्जन आर पॉसिबल. तो हमें एक एप्लीकेशन लिखनी होगी जो हम एडमिन एमटेक को दे देंगे, ये तब हो जाएगा. नाउ सपोज तुम्हारा जॉब ऐसा लगता ही नहीं, तुम अपने कोर्स क्रेडिट्स अदरवाइज भी पूरे कर सकते हो, या तुम्हें एनीवे करना है थीसिस में कन्वर्ट, तो भी हम उस समय कर सकते हैं. तो अगर तुम चाहते हो तो अभी ERP में कर देते हैं, नहीं चाहते हो तो भी वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी बाद में है करने की, वो टेंशन मत लो.
ओके. सो अभी मैं
मेरी तरफ से भी वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है और रेगुलेशंस की तरफ से भी वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी एग्जिस्ट करती है. दोनों तरफ से वो फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी एग्जिस्ट करती है. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट.
ओके. तो अभी रहने दो फिर, कैप्शन प्लस IP जो चल रहा है उसको रहने देता हूँ. इन केस अगर आगे उसको एक्सटेंड करना है तो देन आप बोल लो कि वी कैन डू दैट.
हाँ, तो एक बार तुम ऐसा भी कर सकते हो, जस्ट राइट अ मेल टू आशुतोष दैट आई एम स्टार्टेड टू वर्क ऑन अ कैप्स्टोन प्रोजेक्ट विद डॉक्टर अनुज ग्रोवर एंड आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन एक्सटेंडिंग इट टू अ थीसिस. I might be interested in extending it to a thesis later. I do not know what is the scope of work and how it evolves. I will take this decision only later, but before the start of next semester. Please confirm that I can convert my capstone to thesis. उससे एक रिटर्न में ये कंफर्मेशन ले लो. आई नो उसने मुझे कहा हुआ है कि कर सकते हैं, तुम रिटर्न में कंफर्मेशन ले लो ताकि तुम्हारे जितने भी डाउट्स हैं वो आर लेट टू रेस्ट.
ओके. यस, श्योर.
है ना, ताकि तुम्हारे को माइंड में स्ट्रेस ना रहे. तो उससे रिटर्न में कंफर्मेशन ले लो और आज ले लो. अगर वो सपोज रिटर्न में नहीं देता तो हम कल कर लेंगे थीसिस में कन्वर्ट. लेकिन अगर दे देता है तो फिर क्यों माथापच्ची करनी यार. हो रहा है, बढ़ो आगे काम करो ना. तुम टेंशन लो ना मैं टेंशन लेता हूँ, फालतू में क्यों करना, है ना. क्योंकि ये सारा कैंसलेशन अप्रूवल इस सब के चक्कर में ना डर लगता है कि कहीं कुछ ऊंच नीच ना हो जाए. मेरे को वो डर लगता है. अगर एनीवे आगे जाके होना है, हमने करना भी आगे जाके है, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है, कैप्स्टोन को बाद में थीसिस में कन्वर्ट करवा लेंगे.
प्रॉब्लम इसमें ये है कि आज एक अंडरटेकिंग सॉर्ट ऑफ हमको फिल करनी है जिसमें आपका मुझे साइन भी चाहिए तो उसमें ये आई हैव टू टेल मेरा मैप ये है, रोड मैप आगे का कि मेरे 20 क्रेडिट्स बचे हुए हैं और आई कंप्लीट दिस वे. सो वो तो पूरा उसी स्टाइल में है कि थीसिस प्लस IP होगा. वो फिलहाल मैं कोर्स वर्क कोई ले नहीं रहा हूँ इस सेमेस्टर.
अच्छा.
कि इन केस अगर इंटर्न लगता है तो एग्जाम्स देने में बहुत दिक्कत होगा बीच में, क्योंकि उसमें क्लासेस रहेंगी कि आप इसमें क्लास रन करना है, सो वो दिक्कत हो सकती है. इसलिए मैंने वो ड्रॉप कर दिया. सो मैं रोड मैप में फिर ये ले देता हूँ थीसिस प्लस IP है एंड देन जो आप बोल रहे हैं वो तो हम कर ही सकते हैं एनीवेज. 20 क्रेडिट्स को खत्म करना. ठीक है. फिर लेकिन सर फिर वो तो एक गलत हो जाएगा ना, मतलब आपको गलत चीज़ पे साइन करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि हम ये बोल रहे हैं कि मैं थीसिस प्लस IP कर रहा हूँ बट अभी मैं फिलहाल कैप्स्टोन ले रहा हूँ, कैप्स्टोन प्लस IP ले रहा हूँ.
तो फिर करवा लो थीसिस कन्वर्ट. अगर वो साइन, शिट, एक मिनट रुको, हमारा रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है.